What's going on, YouTube? Sorry, it's been a minute since I've posted any videos. I've been doing work on the car, but I had a bunch of other stuff in real life taking up a lot of my time. But there's also been a lot of problems that I've had with taking footage. I've just not been motivated to put anything on YouTube, and I've had some issues with selecting the wrong camera settings and not knowing it. Finds out that my video editor can't convert some of the files, so I can only get the audio from it. So what I was able to save was a bunch of time-lapse videos, which I'll insert here in just a few minutes. But before we get to that, let's start off with what I think is something I'm excited about. I want your input and feedback on. So I'm going to overlay a photo here. This is the Nova sitting out in the driveway. We finally did the brakes on my daily driver after 2 years, and as I talked about, I put one of the wheels from my Impala on the back of the car just to see what it looked like. Tell me what you guys think. Leave it in the comments below. I'm not exactly sold on a 19-inch rim. I was wrong, they're not 20s, they're 19s. I don't like this thin sidewall on these older cars. I think older cars need to have a lot more meat to the tires. It's just my personal preference. So I'm leaning towards more of a 17-inch rim, like a 5-star, a D-ring, or even rally replicas or something like that. With like a 50, 60, or even 70 series sidewall tire. I gotta play with all the tire calculators and figure out what I like. But you guys tell me what you think, and we'll see if that sways my decision in the next couple of years when I'm ready to actually buy wheels for the car. All right, let's get to this. So I'm gonna start overlaying a time lapse of me working on this driver's side fender. Now this is the third time that I'm now trying to metal finish this fender. I'm done with the rust replacement, so to catch you up as to what's going on, I finished the passenger side cowl, I fixed the rust in the door, I went over the car with the MIG welder and got a couple of the small pinholes that weren't fully fused together, and then I started working on this driver's side fender, because as you can see from the photo from the wheel, there was all steel, which is a leadless metal filler, pasted on the fender where all the weld lines were, because I was kind of tired of looking at it, and I've tried to correct that 3 times now. This is now the 3rd time I'm doing it. Each time I'm done, I get it a little bit better, but it's never to my satisfaction, right? Because it's not looking like an expert did it. So I slap some more all steel on it and call it a day, because it covers up the not so prettiness, as I call it, right? So I'm using my 4.5-inch shrinking disc on my angle grinder. Now it's very effective compared to the old torch style. Taking a torch, putting it in the metal, and then saturating the panel with heat, and then trying to shrink a larger area with a torch than with a shrinking disc. So that you guys don't understand, a shrinking disc only creates friction interference where it's being applied. So the heat's very minimalized, very localized to the spot that you're trying to shrink. And then once you're done with applying the heat, you only need to do it for a little bit. You let it cool off for a couple of seconds, and then you wipe it with a damp rag. I'm using denatured alcohol instead of water, simply because I don't like using water on a bare steel panel. And plus, denatured alcohol has a very good thermal cooling efficiency, I guess you would call it. I use it all the time when I did powder coating, but I'm using denatured alcohol to cool the panel to ambient temperature, and then you can reapply your shrinking disc wherever you need to shrink additional metal. And as you can see, I'm going over this whole section here, and I'm working from the outside in. I did have some excessive oil can here from stretching the panel too much and putting too many waves in the section. It's very difficult to get a hammer in the window area, with a frame for the interior of the car, for the window area where the regulator and the window channel is. So I would hammer on dolly, and I would accidentally stretch too much, or I'd be hitting it in the wrong spot and create a dent, and I had to fix all these things. So again, like I said, this is the 3rd time that I'm going over this, and I'm still not done yet, right? There's still a little bit of work that I need to finish here, and I'll show it to you at the very end of all this time-lapse footage. But I'm using the shrinking disc to shrink the stretched or very excessive high areas, and when you do that, it pulls all the surrounding metal in, so it actually starts leveling out the rest of the metal around it, right? And you know, you sometimes do have to go back over it, especially me, who's not a trained professional in these things. I tend to overshrink it sometimes or overstretch it sometimes, so I've got to go back and forth and, you know, back it up. And the key to this is sneaking up on it, right? I'm like a bull in a china shop sometimes, and I do it a little too much. So then I got to go back and revert it, right? So let's get to the way it looks today. And this is the way it is, and you can see there's no metal filler left on the panel, right? A couple of weekends ago, I had done the back section of the car, and I'm done there. I don't have to do anything else there. It's as good as I'm going to be able to get it with my skill sets and my tools. I still have to finish this area right here over the wheel well, where I can't get a dolly in behind that, but that's going to be a separate video. And then we come to this. Again, it's not perfect yet. I've still got some more hammer dolly finishing to work, you know, bringing up some of the excessive lows. And I did have to re-weld some of it, because when you do hammer on dolly on a MIG weld, MIG welds are a lot harder and more brittle, so they tend to crack. So I had a lot of pinholes showing up in here, cracking the weld out, and I had to sand it out, re-weld it, and of course, re-welding it causes more heat distortion, and you have to, again, fix it. So a lot of going back and forth on this. So, trying to keep this video as short as possible, even though I know it's been 2 months since I've uploaded anything, but you know, you guys get the gist of it. I'm in the metal finishing phase. I'm done with the rust replacement, so I am very excited. And once I've corrected all my previous screw-ups, I can then get to working on prepping the car for epoxy, which I hope to get done, you know, in the cooler fall months. So. Again, guys, let me know what your thoughts are on the wheel, picture of the wheel, and any questions or comments that you have here. I'll probably go into something more detailed with the heat shrink in a later video when I'm able to actually correctly capture all that. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.